G'day guys, Fitcho here, and welcome back to my F1 2018 Ferrari career mode. We're here for episode number 9 and the Austrian Grand Prix, and in typical Austrian Grand Prix fashion, the rain is coming down up here in the Styrian Mountains. Intermediate conditions for the start of this Grand Prix, and if we open up the strategy, it's going to be intermediate conditions for pretty much the entire Grand Prix from start to finish. So we really need to get to grips with these conditions early on, and if we can find the pace, I think we're going to be in a good position. But with constant conditions like this in the intermediates, we're not going to be able to play our way into this race like we have done in past Grand Prix through tyre strategy. This Grand Prix, if we aren't going to win here in Austria, is all going to be down to us fighting through the field and having some amazing pace in these wet conditions. That said, Austria is a track I really do enjoy, and I have found I've been quite quick in the wet conditions compared to the AI, so I am quite hopeful for this Grand Prix. And even if we don't get all the way to the front, I think in these conditions, fighting through the field, it's going to be a lot of fun here in Austria. Now quickly, before we do get into the Grand Prix, if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you do subscribe with notifications on. Without further ado, let's get to the race. Here we go, we're on the grid in Austria. You can see I've got a 35 place grid penalty for this Grand Prix, and that is because I took a lot of new power unit elements, because this is a power track, and we have Silverstone up next, also another power track. But we are underway for this Austrian Grand Prix. A lot of wheel spin off the line, not the best start in the world, but we're going to look up the inside of Sergei Sorokin as we all tippy-toe our way through turn number 1. Grosjean and Stroll side by side just up ahead of us as we head up what is now a DRS straight, of course not in these conditions, or on lap 1, up through the little kink at turn 2 and now into the heavy braking zone at 3. Cars all over the place. We looked up the inside of Stroll, who's now tried to make it 3 wide with Gasly and Van Dorn pushing the Belgian out as we get past Grosjean, get back on the power side by side with Van Dorn. He's coming across on us just a little bit, but we have better straight line speed with our Ferrari. Oh, I've gone late on the brakes, and we're going to turn this into a double overtake. I did not intend that at all, but that was a really clean move on Stroll and Gasly, I do believe. It looks like Stroll got a little bit wide. I couldn't really tell what happened, but I didn't make any contact with them, and I tried not to force them off the track, and we're up into 15th position. And now we have Brendan Hartley just in front of us as they are really struggling with these intermediate conditions. I am definitely a lot quicker than these guys. Obviously my car is quicker, but I think even the speed difference between us right now is more than just the car. As through the last 2 corners we do go. I came very close to getting into the back of Brendan Hartley there as he broke a little bit early for that final corner, but we now get past him down the pit straight up in. Oh, we're going up the inside of Ericsson. I did not mean for that, as they are braking quite early. I didn't feel like I was braking exceptionally late or anything, but we make that move stick past Ericsson, now into 13th place. I do believe our countryman Daniel Ricciardo is out leading this Grand Prix, as now we are chasing down Carlos Sainz in the Renault. Oh, we have a big run on Sainz. We think about looking up the inside of the left-hander, but he goes a little bit defensive, and that's really cost him speed on the apex. I'm trying to find my way around the outside of the 2 left-handers. Can I make this work? Yes, I can. Up into 12th place. I originally looked up the inside. He went defensive, forced me out wide, and I make that stick. And now we have Checo Perez up next as we are really carving through this field with quite a decent pace. Daniel Ricciardo sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix on the end of lap 2, so I'd say he is still leading as we do go purple in the final sector, but not overall on this lap. And up the inside of Perez we do go, trying to give him room, and we get that move done. Now into 11th. Up next, Charles Leclerc, and once we get past the young Monegasque, we'll be up into the points. Right on the back of Charles Leclerc through the left-hander. Can we get up the inside of the next left-hander? Yes, we can. And we get past the Alfa Romeo Sauber driver. And now up into the points we do go. Up next, Fernando Alonso in that McLaren, already in the points at the end of lap number 3, or not quite the end of lap number 3. That is a very, very good start to this Grand Prix. We definitely have very, very good pace in these intermediate conditions, and now we're closing up to the back of Fernando Alonso, setting another purple sector there. And we're going to look up his inside down into turn number 1. We've gone too deep, almost clouding the back of Verstappen there, but we just managed to avoid him, and Alonso gets back past us. The first major mistake we've made in this Grand Prix. In the slipstream of Fernando Alonso again, down towards turn number 4, and this should be a much more simple move. Up the inside. We go a bit more conservative on the brakes. He hangs it around the outside, but he is not going to be able to make that move stick, and we take away 9th position. And up next is Max Verstappen. Wet conditions at a track he won at this year in real life, and he seems to be really struggling, which does surprise me. Rather, it's his teammate out leading this Grand Prix, and it looks like Verstappen is now bottled up in behind Kevin Magnussen, failing to find a way past the Dane. Now, I think I said this at the start of the episode, I'm not too sure, upgrade-wise, with Red Bull now being the quicker than us. I can't quite remember if I said that or not. Well, anyway, that's past Verstappen. Then I'll go on to say what I was going to say. We're going to get up his insides. We head down towards turn number 1. A little bit more conservative on the brakes this time. We should be able to get this move done. And yes, we do. Now into the slipstream of Kevin Magnussen. Can we do what Verstappen has failed to do and get our way past the Haas? Yes, we can. Up the outsides, we head up into turn number 3. He's coming back up our inside. Leave him a little bit of space. Squeeze back onto the loud pedal, and we get that move done. So, up into 7th place now. What I was going to say is both Mercedes and Red Bull have put minor upgrades on the car coming into this weekend, meaning Ferrari are now the 3rd quickest team on the grid. However, we do have also a minor upgrade in the works that should be on the car in the next race of the championship. I can't remember if I said that in the intro or not, but there you go. That is where things stand R&D wise. So we should be back to about the 2nd best car next weekend unless they bring more upgrades. Oh, that's a bit of a moment there through the left-hander. And up next, we do have Esteban Ocon. A little bit of a way to catch up to him. And now I've used up a fair bit of my battery. I think we're going to have to do a little bit of saving for the next couple of laps before we mount a big attack at that Force India. Bloody hell, we really closed up in that braking zone up into turn 3. We have a lot more confidence on the brakes than a lot of the other drivers out here right now. We're starting to really close up to Esteban Ocon. Again, closing a lot on the brakes into turn number 4. Now we're right on the back of the Force India. We're going to sweep to the outside through turn number 5 and now up the inside into the left-hander at 6, and we get that move done as easy as you like. And up next is Nico Hülkenberg, and we get a purple sector in the process. And once we get past Hülkenberg, then we're chasing down our teammate, the 2 Mercedes, and race leader Daniel Ricciardo. We've really closed up. Oh, Jeff's coming across with a new strategy as I am getting distracted. I was about to say I was closing up to Hülkenberg, but Jeff's saying to pit for intermediate tyres. I don't think that's necessary. These tyres aren't doing too bad. Oh, 48% on the rear. That's not as good as I thought they might have been. They're not feeling too bad under me, so I'll keep going for now. When they get to maybe 70%, I'll think about pitting, because that's when you start getting into puncture zone. But we're going to turn our ERS back up because we've charged it up quite nicely, and we're now close to the back of Nico Hülkenberg on the brakes down into turn number 4 through here, trying to get a nice exit. We're not going to be close enough, I don't think, to try anything into the left-handers. Hülkenberg thinking about going defensive. Can we now go around his outside? So he takes a very interesting line, and we've just driven right around his outside, and yes, we do get that move done down into turn number 7. Now up into the top 5. Up next is Valtteri Bottas. Then I believe it is our teammate Sebastian Vettel. Then Hamilton with Ricciardo leading. Oh, that's a big slide. Oh, catch it, catch it. Oh, he's taking a bit of our front wing. Damn it. Damn it. I was trying my best to control that slide and keep it away from Hülkenberg. I got distracted. I was checking the track map to see, because then it caught my eye that I think Hamilton has actually passed our teammate Daniel Ricciardo for the lead of this Grand Prix, and it does look like that. A big battle, four-way battle at the front of the field. Now we're back down into 6th place, and with this damage, we're going to have to take Jeff's advice and come in for a fresh set of intermediate tyres at the end of this lap. Right, so end of lap number 11, and we're coming in to the pits to repair this. Oh, we've drifted way out of the white line. I tried to hold it in there and do the right thing, but now down into the pits. I haven't done this pit entrance before on this game, so we'll slow it down nice and early, and there we go. Into the pits, you can see I've really chewed up those tyres more than I think I realized I was actually doing, and now we're forced to pit for the front wing change. I could have got a few more laps out of those tyres, but unfortunately, we do have to pit now And I think we're going to have to go for a 2-stop strategy potentially in this Grand Prix. Hopefully we do have enough intermediate tyres. And I'm just looking at the track map. A lot of cars have gone past us as onto the power we go. And need to be very, very careful of this pit exit with the wall. I've seen GP2 cars crash out of a Grand Prix in the pit exit, and we've dropped all the way down to last place. We do have nice, fresh boots on this car. And in the opening phase of the Grand Prix, we saw how superior our pace was compared to a lot of these drivers with fresh tyres as well. This should be a walk in the park to get past some of these guys. Up first is Lance Stroll. We have a full battery as well, so let's chuck that up in to overtake and see what we can do about the young Canadian, the 2016 Euro F3 champion, back on the power out of turn number 4. And you can see he has nothing. He has no traction whatsoever. We have much better tyre, a much better car, and we ease past him up into 19th place. Up next is Sergei Sirotkin. We're in his slipstream down the pit straight towards turn number 1, getting a nice toe. We're going to look up the inside of the Russian on the brakes for turn 1. Easy as you like. A lot more confidence on the brakes with fresher tyres. We get that move done up into 18th. Now Gasly is up next. And it looks like there's a big train on the minimap around the turn 3 area just up ahead of us. You can see them in front of us right now. We are now right on the back of Pierre Gasly, up into overtake mode, heading down to the last 2 corners, coming back down the hill. We're going to go up his inside into the penultimate corner. Not normally an overtaking opportunity that much. We get that move done nice and easily. Up next is Romain Grosjean as we end lap number 13 of this Grand Prix. So getting close to the midway point of this race right now. We're actually not going to dive up his inside down into turn number 1. I thought about it, but I don't want to do anything too... Oh, the traction, that is not good. Gasly's got to run now. He just got in the grass, a bit too much curb. And Gasly, he's not going to go for a move on us. That is surprising with the run he did have. Is now onto the brakes for turn number 3. You can see we're closing right back up to that Haas. As onto the power we go. Overtake mode still on the ERS, and we should be able to blast up the inside of Grosjean down into turn number 4. Yes, we do. That is now 16th place. He's trying to hold it around the outside, but he's not going to be able to do that at all. And now we have a big run on Stoffel Van Dorn. We're going to send it up his inside, and we get that move done nice and easily. Far too easy these moves are with a better car. Ooh, Ericsson really parking it, and much fresher tyres. This is a walk in the park getting past them, as long as I don't hit the back of them when they do like to brake check me just a little bit through the corners where they just aren't carrying much momentum through the apex because they can't. We get up the inside of the penultimate corner, and that is now 14th place, and still no one seems to be pitting, so I think we're in for a tough race with our tyre wear being a lot higher than I did expect. We're now on the back of Brendan Hartley through turn number 7. He's going very, very slowly. We're using a little bit of curb through turn number 8, now right in the slipstream of the Toro Rosso, and we're going to go up his inside into the penultimate corner. We've actually made a fair few moves there now, and up in to 13th place we do go. And now it looks like Carlos Sainz is up ahead of us, and still no one else seems to be coming into the pit lane. We've really closed up to Carlos Sainz. A nice run through turn number 5, and we're going to look up his inside in to the left-hander, and we pick his pocket up in to 12th place. And up next is Sergio Perez. We've gone a little bit deep into 7, cut that back. A late apex early on the power. How is our grunt down there straight in the slipstream, high on the ERS, and we should be able to get up the inside of the Force India quite easily into the penultimate corner, and we do, up into 11th place now. And up next is Fernando Alonso. Still no cars pitting as of yet. We really gained in the braking zone there for turn number 3. Now back on the power, much better traction than the McLaren, and we breezed past him. That was far too easy, that overtake. And now we set our sights on K-Mag in the Haas, down into turn number 4, trying to get on the power as early as we possibly can. Swing to the outside. Now our teammate is pitting. The leaders are starting to make their first pit stop, which is pretty much bang on midpoint of the race, which is when you expect to pit if you are going for a one-stop in this Grand Prix that I don't think we're going to be able to execute with our current tyre wear. So this is going to be very, very interesting. We're going to have to be super, super quick if we're going to make this work and try to win or get on the podium in today's Austrian Grand Prix. I was quite confident coming in, but our tyre wear is a lot worse than I did expect. Right, we're getting past a lot of cars who are coming out of the pit lane. Jeff's coming across with a new strategy. That's Hulkenberg. We have just gotten past. He's saying to pit on lap 19 for new inters. These tyres are definitely not worn yet. We can go a lot longer in this Grand Prix on this set of boots as we're closing up to Charles Leclerc. I'm expecting to make one more stop in this Grand Prix. I'm already up to 28% wear on these tyres, so things aren't looking fantastic right now on the wear front. We do have amazing pace, and it is a lot of fun fighting through the field on the fresh tyres. Now, out of turn number 4, through turn number 5 that you almost forget exists, and we're going to look up the inside of 6 on Charles Leclerc, and we get that move done easy as you like. Into 7th place we go. Oh, Esteban Ocon is out of the Grand Prix. Please trigger a safety car, because I need to pit very, very soon. Is that going to trigger a safety car? It doesn't look like it is, unfortunately. It looks like he's in a very precarious position there on the apex of turn number 7, I believe that is. But it doesn't look like a safety car is forthcoming, unfortunately. Our tyres are not in good shape, and in the next couple of laps, we are going to have to pit. If not this particular lap, I'm just going to have a look. 60% now on the rear tyres. We pitted lap 11. We've done, what, 13 laps. And if we pit now, we'll have about 12 laps to go to the end. So I'd say we do have to pit on this particular lap. And there is Esteban Ocon. He's actually a fair way out of the way. And it looks like we're going to come into the pit on this lap. Unfortunately, no VSC or anything to help us. Let's just make sure it is intermediate tyres selected, and it is. Into the pit lane we do come. You can see we just got to the back of the leaders. We were setting purple lap after purple lap. Very good times we were putting in, but now we come into the pit lane. A fresh set of intermediate tyres should be going on to our Ferrari, and we are away. These are definitely fresh tyres. Just double checking, I was fairly confident they were. Now we have a big push to the end. It doesn't look like we have much traffic to worry about. We're out in 7th place. Just got to be careful of this wall here. We definitely have good pace, but I don't think we're going to have as good a pace as I like, or as good a pace as I'm going to need to win today's Grand Prix, unfortunately. But hopefully we can crack the top 5. We have Verstappen and Hulkenberg, I believe it is, not far up the road. Oh, our teammate is in the pits. That is Sebastian Vettel, so maybe some of the leaders are going for another pit stop. This could give us an opportunity to get into podium contention. I didn't think we had. It looks like a Mercedes has also gone into the pit lane. We might not be out of this race. I've been counting myself out of this, but I don't think we necessarily are. Looking at the minimap, Mercedes and a Ferrari in the pit lane, as well as Hulkenberg. As we set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, you can just see them coming out of the pit lane. Up ahead of us, down into turn number 1 we do go. Where are we going to rejoin? Behind both of those cars that have pitted, but we're now a lot closer than we were before. It looks like Vettel is fighting with Verstappen, and whoever the Mercedes was that pitted is just a tiny bit further up the road. This race is not over. I thought we're out of it, but maybe we aren't yet. We are really closing up to Max Verstappen. It looks like there are other cars in the pit lanes. We set the fastest final sector. Are we close enough to look up the inside of Max Verstappen? No, not quite. He takes a very interesting line as we're now up into the top 5. We get past Valtteri Bottas as Verstappen cuts us off a little bit there. I knew that was going to happen, so I snuck across to the outside, and we blast past that Red Bull. Now up into 4th place. You can see just how close our teammate is. If we can get past Sebastian, we're up onto the podium. I did not think we had any chance of a podium in today's Grand Prix, but these guys have made a second pit stop that I didn't expect them to make, and now we are very much in this fight again. Just looking at the mini-map, it looks like Daniel Ricciardo has not actually come into the pit, so he is trying to make the one-stop work, while Vettel, myself, and I assume that is Hamilton, the Mercedes up ahead, or it has to be with Bottas behind us, all now furiously chasing him down on fresh tyres. This could be a very interesting end to this Grand Prix, I should say, as we are now trying to hunt down our teammate to the best of our ability. Of course, no real tyre difference here. Mine are only a lap or 2 older, maybe 3 laps older actually, I can't quite remember, but it's fairly even here, so it's all coming down to raw pace in these tricky conditions as we get the fastest first sector there with a nice slipstream and overtake on the ERS. Now onto the DRS straight, of course. No DRS in this Grand Prix at all with the wet weather conditions, but we still have a nice tow Can we get up his inside down into turn number 4? Yes, we can. A little bit of a lockup. We push him wide, and we get that move done. Now into a podium place. Up next, Lewis Hamilton, and then a long way down the road is Daniel Ricciardo, who is struggling on older tyres. This could be very, very interesting with 7.5 laps to go here in Austria. First bit of traffic for the day. What is Lance Stroll going to do as he head down towards turn number 4? Is he going to get out of the way? No, he is not. Parks it right there on the apex. Now he's trying to get out of the way on the exit. Would have been nice if he had just pulled to the side down the long DRS straight, but he decided not to. Parks on the apex. That's cost us a little bit of time in our pursuit of Lewis Hamilton. Looks like we have a little bit more traffic in front of us, and that is Sergei Sorokin. What is he going to do up into turn number 3? He's absolutely parking it on the apex. What are you doing, Sergei? That's lost us so much time there. We pretty much had to park on the apex, and Hamilton is skipping away further down the road. That is seriously frustrating. The back markers not doing a good job of getting out of the way there, unfortunately. We've really closed up to the back of Lewis Hamilton as we start the 4th last lap of today's Grand Prix. Through turn number 1 we go. Not the best run through there, and now we're going to push it up into overtake mode as we head up through the little kink at 2 in a second and up into the heavy braking zone at turn number 3. We're gaining a lot on Hamilton, but I'm not going to send it up his inside. We're going to go conservative into 3, back on the power because we have another great opportunity down what is normally a DRS straight into the slipstream of Hamilton. We do go. We're going to pull to his inside as we head down the hill into turn number 4. Up his inside. We do go. A little bit of a lockup, and we make that move stick. Now up into second place, and now the hunt for Daniel Ricciardo is on. We have 3.5 laps. What can we do about our fellow Aussie? He's up ahead of us. He's on an older set of tyres, but he has 9 seconds on us. Okay, there's no chance we're going to get him. I think Ricciardo's got this one in the bag. Don't want to say anything too early, but I don't think, even with the tyre disadvantage he has, that we're going to gain that much time in 3 laps. And Daniel Ricciardo has won the Austrian Grand Prix as we round the final corner to cross the line for second place. A pretty good race there, to be fair, considering how it was going about the halfway point of the Grand Prix, where I thought I was going to have to make an extra stop compared to a lot of drivers. I was going to be in a very difficult position with my quite high tyre wear, but in the end, everyone but Daniel Ricciardo followed me onto that 2-stop strategy, and in the end, Daniel Ricciardo benefited by sticking it out on that shoddy rubber, and he wins his first Grand Prix of the entire season.
And what that means is that the drivers have confidence to attack, and having that confidence gets you on the power earlier, it lets you brake later, and can put you a long way up the road.
So here come our winning drivers today, and what a race it was. There's been a big push at the factory lately to get these cars ready, and we can see the fruits of that labour today as Red Bull lift the winner's trophy.
So we have our 6th different winner of the season from 9 races, and that is Daniel Ricciardo. Now everyone in the top 6, both Red Bull drivers, both Ferrari drivers, and both Mercedes drivers have now won a Grand Prix, and I think this is also the 3rd Australian 1-2 finish. Of course, Baku and Monaco, it was the other way around, myself in 1st and Ricciardo in 2nd, but seeing 2 Australian flags at the top of the timing pillar makes me very, very happy. Then you have Lewis Hamilton joining myself and Ricciardo on the podium. Sebastian Vettel came home in 4th place. Verstappen there in 5th. He went for the 1-stop strategy as well, so both Red Bulls on the same strategy, but Verstappen, I think you would have seen early in the Grand Prix, he started down in 9th place and was getting caught in behind a bit of the midfield traffic, and Bottas there in 6th place. Nico Hülkenberg, the best of the rest. Charles Leclerc doing a great job in 8th, with Alonso and Perez rounding out the points. With that 2nd place and Daniel Ricciardo on the top step of the podium, we have extended our lead in the championship to now 46 points as Lewis Hamilton leapfrogs both Verstappen and Bottas to get up into second place. Verstappen stays in third as Bottas loses 2 places in the championship, dropping down to 4th place. Only 2 points separating those 3 drivers, 116 points for Hamilton, 115 for Verstappen, and 114 for Bottas. Our teammate Sebastian Vettel sits there in 5th place. Ricciardo, who's had a lot of bad luck, finally getting his first win of the season, remains there in 6th place. Then it's the Renaults and the Force Indias battling it out over the best of the rest place, with Hülkenberg taking the advantage there, and Charles Leclerc in 11th place, jumping ahead of Romain Grosjean. And in the Constructors, we now have a 27-point lead over Mercedes, with Red Bull sitting there in 3rd place. They are on 203 points, 54 points behind us, and again, very close between Renault and Force India over the best of the rest, but Renault holding the upper hand right now. So that brings us to the end of the weekend here in Austria. Here is the R&D graph for all the teams at the moment. You can see both Mercedes and Red Bull did bring a minor upgrade to this round of the championship. If we jump across to R&D in progress, you can see we have a minor upgrade that's going to be on our car, theoretically, for the next round of the championship at Silverstone, assuming nothing does fail. So we should be back on level with both Mercedes and Red Bull, assuming they don't bring any more upgrades to the British Grand Prix. But next up, we are going to the British Grand Prix. I've mentioned it a couple times at Silverstone. A very, very fun track to drive, and I'm very much looking forward to that. I did mention earlier in this video that I put a new power unit in the car for this race, knowing Austria is a power track, and so with Silverstone coming up, we want the best possible performance from our engine. And starting at the back, we can take as many grid penalties as we want. It doesn't really matter. But that is going to do it for this video today, guys. If you guys did enjoy it, make sure you do leave a like. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you do subscribe with notifications on. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you later.